Hello, Dulquer Salmaan. Welcome to Galatta Plus.
Thank you, sir.
In Chup, the film is about serial killer who targets film critics and carves stars on their forehead. Now, assuming you were to kill me and carve stars on my forehead, how many would you give?
I actually have a lot of area, I think, to carve.
You have a lot of areas, so I'd be a 5-star.
No. There's definitely been moments when I've felt very upset by things somebody said or in a review or something. And I had a thought about how I would take this anger out. So the worst I'll do is maybe not talk to them or not then do interviews with them or something, some passive
Passive-aggressive thing.
not passive aggressive, passive sort of resistance that I'll do. I've always been very internal about it. I'll sulk, but I don't know how to too early really show anger and stuff. In fact, when I did Kali, I was really scared that anger won't show on my face.
So you're basically saying you're a very cheerful guy.
I'm not cheerful. I'm moody, and that people who know me know that about me. There are days when I can just be really off, just quiet, sulky.
Right.
But I feel like my dad always was, the loud person, and if he's angry, he would say things. Or so I feel like my sister and me, from a young age, kept seeing that, and we'd always be worrying about what people are thinking about him, if they're judging him, and feeling this, this childhood protectivity towards your parents. That,
Right.
you don't want anyone to talk ill of them or think badly of them or something. So I think that's there in me somewhere. So it's very difficult for me to create a scene, to throw a tantrum. So for me, it's in my room with some close people, maybe. I have one of my best friends runs my company, and I've known him most of my life, almost 20 years. I can shout at him, and he knows why I'm doing it.
Right.
Because there's that one person that I can vent to. So I'll be bratty with him, and for the smallest things, really throw a little tantrum. And I do it because I can with him.
Right.
Or my personal team who's been with me from the time I started acting. If I want to, but I think they all know it's that I'm venting something else, and this is the most anger I can show.
Right.
So it'll be inside a vanity or inside a room or on a phone in my car or something like that.
Now, this is your 10th year in the movies, so congratulations.
Thank you.
Lots of people have been talking about it. The very first shot that you gave for second show, right from then, were you click? I'm on point. I know what I'm doing.
No, the exact
No?
opposite.
Okay.
When I took the plunge into second show, I thought it's a huge step because I've always been a little limelight shy. I've liked my privacy. I've liked my anonymity. I loved it. Maybe because I knew my father's a famous person. I grew up in Chennai, away from it. And whenever we'd go with him, then there's a bit of that, you're always in everybody's eye. So I love this anonymity for sure. And I'm not someone who talks a lot about himself. I'm very good at listening, which is why I have so many amazing friends, because I think I draw people very easily because I'm a good listener. So I was like, hey, this is a big thing for me, kind of putting myself out there to the public. About acting, it's I would never know if I would be good at it or not, because it's very difficult to watch yourself in a scene.
But I'm sure at some point you should have said, okay, I'm nailing this. I know I'm getting this. I'm doing this right.
I don't think I'm that kind to myself.
Really? In 10 years?
I know I can be I enjoy doing the scene. I had fun. So there's a certain joy I get sometimes in scenes, but I don't ever feel oh, I killed it, man, today. I killed it in that scene.
No,
I see so many actors with that amazing outward confidence. This is probably a weakness also, but I don't know if I ever feel what anyone who sees this thing is I freaking aced it. That's nailed it, man. No.
No, never. No, I'm not talking about nailed it necessarily, but also
I feel good. There are times where I really enjoy doing a scene.
Okay.
Maybe from reading it, and wow, this is going to be amazing to perform. Or I'm really, and sometimes you have these moments where you really feel the emotion.
Right.
And every actor will vouch for that. You don't get it every time.
Yeah.
Not just an emotional, sentimental scene. It can be anything. But there are these moments where, in that between that action and cut, you genuinely your every pore, from your deepest insides, you felt it.
Right.
That for me was an amazing discovery as an actor. And then I was like, okay, this is the magic of acting. More than having to perform or be known as a good actor or something, all these worries that I had because of my lineage, I suddenly fell in love with it on one moment where I felt it very almost out of body. I was like, wait a minute, I literally forgot who I am.
And became the character.
Yeah, and that I couldn't even put it together in words.
When was that? Which film was that?
I think in Ustad Hotel. I mean, I don't even think Nitya and me had many combinations, but there's that scene where she says she's getting engaged the next day or something, and I felt bad, and I was like, why would I feel bad?
Right.
But I felt like Faizi would feel so bad, and that's genuinely such a sad moment for him, because he's just met this girl, and they really have great chemistry, but she's getting engaged or something, or like she's meeting a boy tomorrow. And in that moment where he felt sad, I felt sad. And I was like, wait, this is strange. It's a strange feeling.
Right.
Some things like that. So like these random moments, so it started off, or even in second show, there's a moment where I'm in jail and my mother comes to see me. And it really felt like, I've let her down so badly and failed. These are the things. I think that's the magic of this whole thing.
You know, at the start of your career, there was inevitably the tag of being Mammotty's son. I mean, that was there. And I know that personally, you'll obviously always be Mammotty's son. But professionally, at what point did you feel you shook off that tag and people started seeing you as Dulquer?
It's difficult for me to gauge because there is always a certain group of people who will not allow me to shake off that tag. So whatever, even it's with their own agenda. Like even if I do well in Tamil or Telugu, and that audience is giving me some love, these groups of people come and attack me there. Almost like, I'm like, wait, but I'm from your state, like I'm from there. Why would you come here and not want another section of the audience to like me for whatever reason? So because that's always been there, even when I got this love and acceptance, I almost wouldn't allow myself to fully enjoy that.
Right.
Because I keep focusing on that. It's a bad habit. It's not healthy. It's not good for my mental health. But it's there. And maybe, as I sometimes think, maybe when I look back, I sometimes think this urge to keep working in other languages because I feel like this tag is much less there.
Right.
Right.
I thought you were just on an India domination tour because it was
nothing.
like you wanted to conquer all of India.
I feel like whenever I work in other languages, I'm very much known as me.
Yeah.
I read a tweet the other day where somebody was like, "What the hell? He's Mr. Mammotty's son," and I was like, "Thank you." I was like, at one moment, that just one tweet, I was like, "There's somebody out there who knew me for me."
Right.
And that's beautiful. Like it's not that I want to ever, I am a fiercely proud son of my father, but I also don't want it ever seem like this was easy for me or I don't care about this.
Right.
And it's some easy family business where I get to sit on a table.
And you've had your fair share of ups and downs. So
of course.
So what makes you say yes to a script? Like what made you say yes to Chup? What made you say yes to Sitaramam?
Sitaramam immediately appealed to me because of there's a certain genuine honesty to that story and that filmmaker. I was like, he's so deeply passionate about this. And no matter how much I try to run away from it, I think I am deeply romantic at heart. I have been the kind to consume those books in cinema. And I've always, I think, maybe when I started out, I was like, every actor becomes a star if he gets a DDLJ. I feel like what Shah Rukh got with that. Almost all of the most beloved actors have had that one great, massive love story hit. And maybe that's what I've always hunted for or searched for and never found. So I knew instantly that I wanted to do the film because I thought they were attempting to make something really special. And in Chup, I was blown away that Balkisa was attempting something like this.
Right.
And I love it when any of us, actors or directors, are really trying something that they know nothing about or like they are not familiar with, and you're going into this completely unfamiliar zone. I mean, even as a critic, I'm sure you love it when actors or filmmakers surprise you.
Yeah.
Right? So
yeah.
I was like, Balkis, how do you think of me for this? You really think I can do this? I had all these doubts. And throughout shoot also, I'll keep asking. I was like, so are you sure this is the zone? You want me to play it like that, play it like this? Because I'm like, I don't know. I don't seem to be an obvious choice for this. But I had a lot of fun with it.
Right.
I had a lot of fun with it. But it's always been a couple of things. I mean, I want to be very sincere to my love for cinema and always respect the viewers, right? That you're going to hopefully always see quality content from me. Hit, flop, good, bad. But the intention should be that, like sincere. And I also like that in this lineup, it actually ended up working out that way also because the proximity of releases. I was like, I love that I'm going to be this Ram in Sita Ramam, and then I get to do Chup. So the year, they all seem like different characters, different films.
Yeah. You just said, you kept asking Balki, what, are you sure I can do this?
Yeah.
I mean, by now, after 10 years, I'm sure you're aware of your strengths and weaknesses in front of the camera kind of thing. Do you use those strengths and weaknesses to kind of choose projects, or do you actually actively go and say, this is going to test me, and say, let me plunge in and see what happens?
Facing your fears is the way to really unlock yourself, in some way. So acting scared me. I took that plunge. I'm a happier human. Like when I was venturing into, say, and each language used to scare me. So especially Telugu for me was completely alien. Like I'd never had that exposure. A few friends from there, but it's not Hyderabad. Any of those places aren't. I just didn't end up spending time there. So it might look easy because it's maybe in the same zone. I'm doing a romantic film or being charming or whatever it is that they say I do. But there are things that I feel like I am challenging myself. But I also am very aware that I want to entertain the audience.
Right.
And I feel that's also a bit of a responsibility.
Right.
So in me trying to prove to the audience and to myself that I'm an actor with range or something, I don't also want to do cinema that only proves that, and maybe I'm not entertaining the audience. I still want people to watch the cinema as widely as possible.
Now in Chup, there is this song, Mera Love Main, which is a promo song, which is not there in the movie.
Yeah.
In that there's this line, Mujhko to mujhse pyara koi nahi hai.
Right.
Like, I love myself the best, right?
Yeah.
It's like, there's nobody that I love more than myself.
Yeah.
So, is self-love necessary for an actor?
I think it's necessary for all human beings. I think we're so harsh on ourselves. And when I was in school, just a basic exercise, one of our teachers put out a white sheet of cloth with a black dot on it. And she was like, what do you see? You see a black dot. And she's like, no, but you don't look at the white sheet. So we all notice our defects. And then those exercises where people are told to draw themselves and somebody else draws you. I think we're all so overly critical. I for one, am never happy with anything I do or with my performances. Always, I feel like I should try harder. I can do better. So when we talk about self-love, I thought that song was so necessary at that time, and that's a video I enjoy watching because I felt like even though I had my filmmaker and Brinda ma'am choreographing and pushing me to do all of that, in those moments I was like, okay, you know what, give yourself some love. So I think it's very important for all of us, especially actors. I mean, we're all hugely insecure and constantly doubting ourselves and second guessing.
And plus you have critics staring at
you. So when you're feeling good about something and you read a bad criticism, you're like, oh man. And then again you have a low.
I'm going to quote this Hollywood actor Rob Lowe. You've heard of him, right?
Yeah.
Like, so part of the Brat Pack and all that. And he's very good looking for his time and is known as a heartthrob and all that.
Right.
And he had this to say, there's this unbelievable bias and prejudice against quote-unquote good-looking people that they can't be in pain or they can't have rough lives or be deep or interesting. And along the same lines, there have been several quote-unquote good-looking actors in Hollywood who've actively gone on to de-glamorize themselves in order to win Oscars or be taken seriously as actors or something like that. What are your thoughts on this? And please note that I just gave you a major compliment.
Thank you. I mean, I have never... maybe because of how incredibly handsome my father is, and how even more incredibly handsome my grandfather was. I have never felt like I was a very good-looking person. I'm not bad-looking, but I didn't know. I was never the guy who like women would check out at first glance. I'd always have a friend who's that person. I was always friends with the good-looking guy, and I was always like, man, it must have been awesome to be my dad. Or my friend is like more like my dad's qualities than I have or something. But I understand what you're saying. My dad, for example, you've seen him do so many. It's like I don't want to only be known as this good-looking actor. I want to be actor, and I think it's when I keep hearing charm or charming or chocolate boy or romantic hero, all of this. I'm like, no, I don't. It's not even something that I would take seriously if I read this about somebody else, And after a while, it's been 10 years. I have a 5-year-old, I'm like, I don't know how long I can play to these tags. So I genuinely would happily want to break out of those.
Right.
And
right.
I understand that thinking.
But you do believe that being perceived as a chocolate boy or whatever goes against being taken seriously as an actor. Has that happened to you?
It's not consistently that you're kind of presented as good looking or something. And also, when I've been working in Malayalam, it was never about looks.
Yeah.
I've always had to look believable. So sometimes it's always been not admitting that I'm good looking, but I'm saying I look a certain way. I look urban, or I look metrosexual. What are these terms? I look a little groomed. Let's say that. I look groomed.
You're being very modest, but I'll go with it.
No, I mean, whatever. I don't, it's not false modesty, but this is
No.
who lives in my head.
Right,
Let's put it
right.
that way.
Yeah.
You have to kind of make it believable to them and to yourself. Like,
Right.
I don't want to look like I'm in some masquerade, where I'm wearing a mask in some way that I'm not buying myself.
Right.
Me admitting that I think I'm good looking is something that is impossible for me.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, then me admitting that, I've never been taken seriously because I'm so handsome. No, I can never make that statement. It does nothing for me when I read those
Lines.
common phrases.
Right.
So charming,
Right.
or so easy on the eye, or something like that. Sure, thank you. I'm very grateful for it. Another thing of late that's been irking me is as usual was amazing, or as usual was good. I'm like, I don't want to be as usual. It shouldn't be like, I'm good in everything, but not really great standing out or something like that. And then so this will then make you want to push yourself even more. So then maybe choosing de-glam roles or more gritty stuff, dark movies.
Like this one.
Possibly.
Now, in Malayalam cinema, there are certain camps. I won't call them, not necessarily in a bad way, but
Yeah.
certain actors who worked with certain directors and whatever, and they're taken more seriously. Their films are taken like, oh wow, this
More substance or
more substance or whatever it is, right? You don't actively belong to any of those camps, but you're kind of you have this other end of the spectrum where you give spectacular commercial hits like Kurum. Are you the kind of person who says, I'm happy in the zone, or do you crave to be in those camps getting those kinds of roles?
I have a cinema of my own, I think. Whatever it is that I do, there is something I feel the general audience perceives of my movies that you're going to come, you're going to be entertained, it's going to have an amount of quality, it'll have something that hopefully that's new. I'm very bad at calling a director and being like, sir, I really want to work with you. I'm very bad at reaching out. Because always in my head I'm thinking I'm disturbing everybody on the planet. I think in this urge to earn respect, so any director calling me, saying, hey, I was thinking of you for this role, win. I did something right in my choices or my performance or something. Like, I don't ever feel like, even when you say certain actors or certain films or substance, I don't watch those films and be like, man, what if I did that film? I think every film has a destiny. I'm meant to do certain films. Because I know there are films of mine which have done all this dancing and somehow not come to me.
Right.
It would have gone away from me or something, or vice versa. So that's not something I've ever really stressed about. And also, I genuinely think I want to work with everyone, yes.
Yes.
But I can only do so much at a time.
Right.
And I'm not overly... See, also, like sometimes you can work with the best talent,
Right.
best writer-director, and still have a film that was mediocre or something.
Right.
That didn't work. And the opposite. A stark newcomer can give you something really magical. So I don't know if it... And I kind of like that, nobody can claim that they made me an actor or a star or something. Like, I work with everybody.
Right.
I like that about my filmography so far.
Right. So in your filmography, can you narrow down, I know it's tough to always choose from your babies, but like 5 films that will always be special to you?
Definitely Ustad Hotel.
Right.
I'll never, ever be ungrateful for that film because it can play in cinemas even now and people will see me as somebody in their family.
Right.
And that's so important for an actor. That one great year with Charlie Kali Kamatipadu.
Yeah.
That was a stellar year for me. I was just like, wow, each film is so unique and I'm getting to play different characters and different roles. I think those opened up so many other doors.
Right.
Like I'm sure a Manisa would have noticed me in something, or a Mahanati stemmed from one of those films, a Karma stemmed from one of those films. Okay Karmani for me was a big turning point. More so anything else, everybody watches the Money Sir film. So I felt like, wherever I went, there was some little noticing that was happening, which is interesting. Mahanati was an amazing experience. So yeah, it's hard. But I think, but these are the big milestone films. And now Sitaram.
Yeah, now Sitaram. You can't forget that.
Or Chup for pushing me to do something like this, which was definitely not expected of me.
Right.
Yeah.
So, professionally speaking, what keeps Dulquer Salmaan awake at night?
I used to always have this fear of being this prodigal son. Like, I'll squander everything away, and at some age in my life, come to the street, sort of thing. And I genuinely know this was expected of me from a lot of people. So when I have now kind of succeeded, I've heard from people like, we never thought you'd really do anything. But you'd probably just be a sort of spoiled, rich
Like a wasteful
kid. Something like that. I think there were people who would think that this is where one would head. Not because of my personality or something, but it's because I've always been quiet, and because maybe I like cars or something like that, where you just think, what is he going to do with his life? He just, I've heard somebody tell me, we just thought like, you just only care about what your dad drives or something. This is your interest. You're not really some bizarre thing like that. So those are a lot of the biographies that I would read, a lot of the cinema that I would see of great fortunes being squandered, or those movies where you have great highs and complete lows. So that's always been a fear. I think that's a driving factor where now I have different verticals in my life: actor, producer, investor, where this failure is not an option.
Professionally speaking, what is the happiest moment of Dulquer Salmaan's career?
Hard to pick one, but there have been some emotional moments. So even though like I've had successful films, nothing has been that bona fide solo blockbuster for a long time in my career. And people would always simplify, like it'll be like, oh, Bangalore Days, but there's everybody in it. It's not,
Right.
It's not your film alone. Or okay, Company is a Money Sir film. Or it's always I keep hearing these things. I'm like, man, when are we gonna get? When is something gonna be my film, right? Like a Kannum Kannu Kollayiduthal screened. I was like, oh my god, like there is something. This is a film that I heard in a certain way in my head, and the director exceeded that, and that's so rare to find, because a lot of the times you are seeing a film, they're seeing a different film, and it doesn't match, and you're disappointed. So every time that expectation or dream is exceeded, I get really emotional. Like I got emotional when I watched Sita Ramam. I got emotional in that first state award, which I was so afraid of even winning, because there were so many more obvious better performances than me. And I remember being like, there will be people who think this is undeserved and not like that I've got it. I remember an amazing troll at that time saying, hey, want to sell me your award? I'll pay you $500 more than what you paid for it. But it crushed me at that time. I was like, really? Like, you think that is something that I would do? I mean, if I were to buy everything, I would have done this a long time back.
Yeah.
But then someone told me something amazing. It's like, people can have opinions and you can have doubts yourself. Maybe you felt you deserved it in another film.
Mm-hmm.
But the awards you get, especially these big ones, may not be for the work in that film.
Right.
You're probably getting it for all the work you've done so far, or all the work you're going to do ahead. So don't ever not enjoy it.
Yeah.
And I love that thought.
Yeah.
That gave me some peace. These are like some seminal moments.
Yeah. But at the same time, you're very introspective, and also you just said insecure, but at the same time, you don't seem that way, because Mahanati is not your film. Kamati Padam you were one among three. Like it's not, I mean, yes, it starts with you and bleeding and all that, but it goes on to another journey.
True.
Similarly, Varnya Avashaman is like that. It's a delightful film, but it's not really your film. It's like, I mean, you're part of the film, you're an ensemble. You're not afraid to put yourself out there.
No, I don't have this insecurity when I'm performing, ever, or when I'm selecting a film. And I never believe that we can engineer these victories. So I'm just like, this is how I'm going to work,
right?
And this is how I believe in cinema, and this is how secure I am as an actor, especially in signing films and performing films.
Right.
Like I've never understood actors who want to steal your line or dominate you in a scene when you perform, and this happens.
Yeah.
When I see it, I'm like amused by it. I'm like, yeah, man, take it. You know,
Yeah.
I have 3 more films this year, so I'm not so invested in this that if you dominate me in the scene or you take away my line or something, that I'm gonna lose out in some way.
Right.
I mean, we have to be true to the film and true to our characters, and that's all I understand. The insecurity has always been about all this other stuff sort of attached to being an actor,
Right.
about recognition or are you a good actor or a bad actor or
Right.
average actor, all this that people
Yeah.
say, or that you've never had this many 50 crore films or 100 crore films or whatever it is. Those are the things which are probably what I would think about.
Right.
But my choices or how I perform in my films or what my role size is,
That's never been.
I have a lot of clarity in that. I have a lot of security in that.
What are your thoughts on critics? That's going back to this.
Absolutely, yeah. So, you know, it's actually been, this entire promotional tour has been great because this is the first time I've given this so much thought and even had conversations about it or debates about it and discussions about it. There have been moments where I've been hurt and upset, and also like, there were times when I was like, you know what, critics just don't like me. They will probably not ever take me seriously as an actor. I'll always be some charming, good-looking son of, you know, this big megastar actor.
Right.
Maybe then I should only just seek to be a star. You know, why this pursuit of trying to be an actor? Like, I'm never going to win with critics. What has upset me more has always been the trolling and the memes. So
Yeah.
I don't think critics are ever that harsh. You know, they're not that personal or mean. Occasionally, but
I've always been nice to you, right?
quite nice to me, yeah. You know, one random thing you said that threw me off. You were reviewing Mara, and you said, I don't really remember Charlie. And I was like, what? Sir, how could you forget Charlie? I was like, it was such a special film. But these little things we get touchy about. You know,
No, I think I said it almost made me forget Charlie, yeah, something like
something
that.
like
Yeah,
that,
yeah,
but
yeah.
something
Because
I was like-
because that was a much older character Madhavan played than
yeah,
you.
no, I love how it was adapted differently. And
Yeah.
I
It was
thought-
not Charlie.
It wasn't.
Yeah,
It wasn't.
yeah.
But something in that it's like a random line that came out of your
Yeah.
mouth, and I was, so it threw
What
me
just
off.
happened?
What
Right.
just happened?
Yeah. So-
But that's usually what happens. Like when we read criticism, sometimes you're just like, what? No,
Yeah.
I wasn't thinking like that, or that was not the intention when doing the film, or something.
Yeah.
Another thing during this promotional tour, I've realized is I don't really remember a lot of the harsh things people have said about me, even though at that time I would have taken screenshots. I'll have to go back by the year and find something, but
But that's so negative, Dulquer. It's like all that negative energy. I mean, like
I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. But it's not, again, not good for you. But
you're hoarding all that negativity.
I don't revisit it. Like once
Okay.
in a while I do,
Right.
weirdly.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, I want to prove you wrong, man.
Okay.
I want to be like, how can you decide the extent of me?
Yeah.
How dare you?
Yeah.
Sort of thing.
Yeah.
And then it does drive me. Like you need something that, or else I can very much be. I have an amazing family. I have an amazing home, and nothing is more good for my mental health than being around them and just talking,
Right.
and spending time and laughing and eating or whatever.
Yeah.
So if something is driving me to go out and do this and keep putting myself out there for some kind of criticism or attack, you need something to drive you.
Nice.
But when you said I'm holding negative energy, it's ironic because all my life I've been so conscious, or something, maybe adult life or somewhere I discovered that I believe in energies and that I genuinely want to put out only positivity all the time.
Right.
And then I'm hoping it comes back to me. Maybe why I get so surprised when I hear some negativity about myself.
Right.
And maybe that's why I hoard it, because I don't understand. I'm like, when I'm being genuine and positive, I mean, this is not some put-on thing. I don't know how else to be. I'm not very good at pretending to be a certain way or something. So if I'm genuinely being positive and someone still finds something negative to say to me, not about films or performances, it hits me. And we're all very sensitive like that.
You know, you try to ignore it because, again, I believe in energies and I believe in positivity. So the point is, I would never take, like, I would try to like avoid that thing and forget it. So when you said that you used to take snapshots, that seemed to me like hoarding negative energy. That's
I'll
why.
tell you, no. I mean, so I'll tell you the logic as to why I was doing it. It's like when I read it the first time, it made me angry, and for some reason, for a bit, maybe a day or two, you don't want to forget that.
Okay.
You know,
You want to hold on to that.
you want to hold on to it and feel that rage or whatever, and almost like I need to read it verbatim,
Right.
word by word. That's probably the screenshot.
Yeah.
And I would have revisited in those 2-3 days until the natural process of just overcoming it or forgetting or moving on from it
Yeah.
just happened, on its own.
Okay. All right. So lastly, what do the next 10 years look like for Dulquer Salmaan? Do you have a plan or you're not?
I've never had a plan.
Okay.
But hopefully shed whatever images that are there.
Right.
And like what you said, certain actors are taken as seriously as actors. So whatever I'm not getting,
Right.
I want that.
Right. For
So
the
and
record.
then when I go there, I'll probably want
Right.
to do a mega commercial blockbuster cinema also.
Right,
So I
right.
don't know.
And just for the record, I thought you were very good at Chup.
Thank you,
And
thank you.
I wouldn't just say this. So I really think it
Thank you.
it was an off role, and I didn't see you in that part. But when the film got going, I was like, okay, this is kind of a good
Interesting.
casting against type.
Yeah.
And you're pulling it off. So
Thank
yeah,
you,
yeah,
thank
so
you,
that-
thank you.
that's-
So I know we've had our ups and downs, and I've been aloof sometimes and sensitive about some little thing you said or something. But now, maybe it's been a good year or whatever. I'm like, I can't be touchy about what somebody says about my performance. Maybe I have to earn it. It's not some right or something.
right.
So definitely there's a little more peace. But also, we're all kind of trying to figure out this journey, right? Just
Right.
about life and
Yeah,
dealing
yeah.
with things. So yeah,
That's good.
I won't do that again.
No, that's okay. I mean, if you do it as well, it's like,
And
very
it
much that-
wasn't even like directed at you. It was just that whole organization or something. Something was throwing me off. I felt very like singled out over and over again with every film.
Right, right. But let's leave that aside.
Yeah,
now you're in a good place. So let's
yeah,
be there,
exactly,
be there. Yeah.
yeah.
So good. Thanks.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
sir. Thank you.